Yo, what is up guys, FaZe here and welcome back to another video. Hope you guys are having a fantastic day like always, and today I'm going to be going over the Object 7772, a tier 10 Russian collector's heavy tank, which is a vehicle that was sold quite a while ago, and it is a vehicle that is used in tournaments all the time, and it's for a very good reason. This tank is overall just filled to the brim with awesome stats, and that is going to be the topic for today's video. I'm going to do a full review on this vehicle. Do I recommend you picking it up in the straw that it is currently in, as well as what's going to happen to it in the next update? Is it getting buffed? Is it getting nerfed? What type of rebalances are you Wargaming doing to the vehicle? And just overall what I personally think of the tank. Now, if you have a look here quickly, I have only played one game, so this is my first impressions on the vehicle basically. So the vehicle is used quite a bit now, and a lot of people are playing this vehicle non-stop, and that is why it's kind of hard to get your masteries on it. However, besides that, let's get straight into the overall stats of the vehicle and what I run on equipment. With that being said, let's get straight into it. Now, equipment-wise, obviously I've only played one battle, but personally I believe that this is how you should really run the vehicle. I didn't really have a problem pinning enemy vehicles. However, if it comes to tier 10 vehicles like the E100 and stuff, that amount of penetration, you have about 330 on your heat rounds if you don't run calibrated shells, and that will just quite allow you to get through the E100's turret, but you may have a difficulty pinning it if the E100 or any type of armored vehicle is at a slopey distance like hull down. So just keep that in mind. While the penetration would actually be a very good option on this vehicle because it'll allow you to penetrate the enemies very easily, I do think that gun rammer boosting this tank up to 3100 DPM is actually fantastic, and you don't really see many tier 10 Russian heavy tanks with that much DPM. So it's a good note for you guys, definitely a decent amount of DPM if you run gun rammer. Second of all, I'm running enhanced gun laying drive and refined gun. Choosing this will just mean that you hit your shots more reliably if you take the time to aim them in. Second row, we have defense system and then enhanced armor, just because that 4% increase will be a massive help to this vehicle's armor, because while the turret is very strong and while the overall armor of this vehicle is extremely good, that 4% increase allows your enemies not to really pen your turret, because the turret can be penned by higher penetration guns, and that 4% increase can just give that turret a bit of a helping hand to bounce those shells. We're running toolbox. However, a good option can also be the enhanced tracks, because you'll get a overall more durable tracks when you run that, and 30% increase is just to get rid of those modules that get damaged. So it's up to you. Do you find yourself getting tracked a lot in this vehicle? You should find that you do, because it is a frontline tank. I'm running improved optics on the third row, engine accelerator, and high-end consumables. Pretty straightforward. Unique. Let's have a look at something that I think is very unique on this vehicle. Not a lot of Russian tanks have this, and it is a 430 alpha gun. Now, no Russian tank as of now has that amount of alpha, and it gives this gun a middle ground between the IS-7's gun and the IS-4's gun, because obviously the IS-4 has 420 alpha and the IS-7 has 450. So it's just between ground that I actually really like about it, as well as this tank is very accurate for what type of gun it is. 3.5 seconds of aiming time with 310 dispersion is actually very nice for the type of tank it is, and you do find yourself hitting a lot of your shots, as well as it has almost 3200 DPM on this tank with only an 8.25 seconds if you're running gun rammer. So yeah, I love the gun on this vehicle. Even only playing one game, fantastic. The one only downside about this vehicle is that it has 6 degrees of gun depression. I'm going to give you guys a live game on this vehicle in just a moment. However, I do want to quickly show you the armor of this vehicle, so let's get straight into that. Now, so moving on into Armour Inspector, we can have a look at the armor of this vehicle using 6 degrees of gun depression. As you can see, this is the Object 777 being shot at by an IS-4. Not running calibrated shells. As you can see, that lower plate is quite weak, and people are actually going to butter straight through it because it's only 127 millimeters thick. As you can see, even at the steepest angle, people are going to pin it, no problem. It's actually similar to how the IS-4's lower plate is. As you can see, you can pin it, but it is a lot stronger than the 777's armor on the lower plate. As you can see, 242 millimeters. If you face it on straight, it's only 184, where on the 777, it's only 129. So yeah, keep that in mind. This lower plate is very weak on this vehicle. And the overall footprint of the vehicle is very short. So as you can see, if we have a look at the IS-4 is considerably taller than the Object 777. This means that you're a smaller footprint, and it's actually quite hard to pen this vehicle if you are not aiming correctly. Yeah, you're definitely not going to pen this. It's a 100% chance of bouncing. However, there is this tiny little nitpick in the front here. I believe maybe it's a viewing port, or it's just a little inconsistency to the armor. You can pen that, no problem, with your AP rounds. There is a chance to bounce it because it's 243mm thick, but majority of the time, if you aim it correctly, you're going to go through that little section there, as well as this tiny little section on the left side of the turret. So if you are in a position where you have to face hug this tank, always aim to the left side, because there's a possibility of penning this on this little tiny piece here. That same section there is not on the opposite side. You'll definitely bounce it if you aim that side too. Now, having a look at the turret armor, while it's very thick, as you can see, if you aim at it here, 262mm is very nice. However, as soon as the IS-4 switches up to calibrated shells, even just using AP, there is a chance to go 100% straight through this turret. So the turret is very strong in some section. As you can see here, it's like 500mm thick in some sections, but right next to the guns, it's only 262mm thick, meaning that you will butter straight through this thing's turret, no problem, if you are running calibrated shells. So I do highly suggest you to run it, and if the IS-4 has to use its heat, which it has a very, very good heat rounds of 340, yeah, as you can see, the armor absolutely falls apart. You can also pen the actual hatches of this vehicle. Both sides are pennable with heat. As you can see, even with AP rounds with light tanks, you find yourselves, you can actually pen this thing's turret, no problem. This little viewing port at the back of the tank, it doesn't exist, basically. It is always going to bounce, so never aim at that back area there, because it's just basically spaced armor and won't do any damage to the vehicle. Always only look at these two in the front here, because those are a definite pen. As you can see, now this video is ending up to be quite long, but I think we could get into a live battle for you guys. This is going to be my second game in this vehicle. Looks like we land on mines, which is not the most favorable map for this tank. Like I said, this tank only has 6 degrees of gun depression, which means you will struggle on most ridge lines in the game, and it just means that this tank is not as versatile as it possibly could be. Now this IS-7 is stopping me from going to the hill. Now because my vehicle is not really the best hull down tank out there, I do still want to use this on the hill, because the hill is probably one of the most important positions on this map, and if you don't take it and make sure that it's cleared, you're probably going to lose this battle. So one little tip that I can give you is to go to the far left of the hill here, because it allows tanks like this tank that has no gun depression to use this little section here and kind of use that 6 degrees of gun depression, no problem. This T92E6, this light tank over here, just sits in the open here from me, so I'm able to get another shot into him. And as you can see, that mobility allowed me to get here no problem. I'm going to load my heat rounds and go straight through that 62A's turret, and this is the 777 using heat with gun rammer, so you can see and get a little idea of how good the heat pen on this vehicle is. It's just absolutely crazy. We're gonna kill that T96, not sure what he was doing, and this 62A is the only one dealt with here. Now maybe we can get a shot into his turret. Looks like he backed up just in time. Leo Pete's, actually it's not a PTA, it's a Leopard 1 over here, is in a very bad position, but maybe he'll reverse so that I can get a shot into his turret. It doesn't look like I was quite able to get that there, and it looks like the enemy team has actually got onto our rears. I wasn't actually paying attention to them, so this Emil was able to get onto my rear here, and there is still a T57 over there as well. 62A is actually going to aim at me. Don't know why he's focus firing me, but there is a 57 in our spawn. I'm not sure what really our team has been doing here. I mean, that T57 is now going to farm out our team here for no problem. I want to see if I can maybe get on the hill here, but looking at how our team is doing, we're probably going to lose this battle, unfortunately. I'm not sure what the enemy team is doing as well. I wish one person would have gone on the right here to stop these guys from flanking us, but it looks like I'm just going to have to poke around this corner and deal with this Emil 2 alone, because this, what is he? The Ag Tiger is not really doing much to help me here, and this 57 is in front of me. I'm going to push forward here. I'm going to take a few shots from this guy on my left, but I'm just going to have to use my armor to the best as I can, aim at both of these guys, try to clear this Emil before he can farm me out, as well as that T57. I don't want to back up too much. Like I said, there's a 62A in front of me, and using this great DPM on this vehicle, we should be able to clear this Emil, and I say that and we missed the shot, unfortunately. So yeah, this is not looking too good for us, guys. We're probably going to lose this game. I mean, the guys are on our rear already, and because of this, we can side scrape just a little bit, but I don't know what our medium tanks are doing either, because the entire medium flank is alone there, and they're doing nothing to help their team. Our IS-7, who pushed us in the middle on the first few minutes of the game, is on the far left here. I'm not sure what he's doing, but you know, you can't really expect much from these teammates. They are all over the place, and he just drives out sideways, but the 62A ends up killing him. So this is actually a good example for a fantastic tank that can't really win its battles if the team is awful. So the tank might be awesome and very good in most aspects, but it's definitely not just going to solo win the battle for you, as you can see. We didn't do a lot of damage. We did do about 3,300 damage here, and our team kind of fell apart. Our medium tank doing 0 damage, and our tank destroyer only getting 1 shot out. So yeah, this is not really the greatest game out there, but hopefully it shows you that a tank that is very good, like the 777, is not solely going to win the battles for you. Now, just before I end this video, I do want to quickly mention the 777 draw that is currently in the shop. Now, I highly suggest you not to use and spend your gold on this draw, because in total, you're going to need about 30,000 gold to definitely get this vehicle in your garage. Now, you do have those people who are very lucky that can get it with 10,000 gold, maybe 3,000 gold, but that is definitely not going to happen all the time. And if you're somebody who thinks you might get lucky as well, chances are you're not going to get this tank like I did. I only was able to get this on my second last try. I was actually pretty lucky to get it before I got the camouflage for the vehicle, so just keep that in mind. This draw is extremely unlucky. It's basically crates, and as you can see here, you can quickly look at the amounts of gold you need. If you calculate all of these combined, you're going to need about 30,000 gold to get this tank guaranteed. Yes, you get a few boxes and collectible containers, but those are useless if you don't get anything from them, and that is definitely not really going to happen if you ask me. I did actually manage to get the M60 out of one of the containers from there, but I was actually extremely lucky to actually get the vehicle, or get a vehicle in general from the collectible containers. So yeah, just keep them in mind. The 777 draw is absolutely awful, and I don't suggest you guys wasting your money on it. I'd highly suggest you to wait for maybe the auction at the end of the year for Christmas, and you could possibly pick up this tank for a lot cheaper. And yeah, that is what I would highly suggest you to do. It is a collector's vehicle, so you can get 7,500 gold for selling it. So just keep that in mind as well. Anyways, guys, hopefully this video actually kind of helped you understand how to play the 777. It's basically a vehicle that has a lot of mobility. You can put it into the front line. Make sure to side scrape in this vehicle using those thick tracks to your advantage. And the DPM on this tank is fabulous. However, if you're versing anyone who has pretty decent premium pen, they're going to butter straight through this vehicle. So don't think the armor is impenetrable in any way, because it definitely isn't. Hope you guys enjoyed this. If you did, you can leave a like and subscribe. It really helps me out, and I greatly appreciate it. With that being said, guys, hopefully your shells hit their marks, and I'll check you in the next one. Cheers.